In our last episode, the data proved that memorable spaces are encoded by one thing, personal encounters. But as a designer, I know a concept cannot exist in a vacuum. It needs a real room with real constraints.
There is a gallery space run by a lifestyle brand called 皮蛋. Their architecture is highly minimalism, but their entire brand ethos is cat-centric. While scrolling through their feed, I found something fascinating. Visitors actually bring their cat companion directly into the gallery. It's a living space where two entirely different species share the exact same room.
And that sparks a design challenge. If memorable spaces are built around personal encounters, what kind of encounters make sense for a cat-centric space? This is our new problem statement. Hi, I'm Juliet, an accidental curator.
My immediate instinct was to do what any designer does, brainstorming standard interactive features. I sketched out a projection mapping wall, a QR code scan system, a message board, and a stamp collecting hunt. They are the classic tools of modern exhibition design.
The funny thing is, these are all good ideas.
They are all interactions you've probably seen before.
I realized I wasn't choosing interactions. I was choosing what kind of interaction, what this exhibition is actually about. And that's when it hit me. The problem wasn't finding ideas. The problem was finding a point of view.
皮蛋 already had a clear point of view. They weren't simply designing products for cats. They were designing the world through a cat's perspective. So instead of asking what interactive features to add, I started asking a much better design question.
What would a cat notice? The moment I forced myself into their land, a spatial logic completely unlocked.
And almost immediately, one cat came to mind. Orange has been Little Orange Cat in my illustrations. She's always wandering into ordinary moments. As I started designing the space, I realized she could be the guide. And that's when the exhibition started feeling less like a gallery and more like stepping into Orange's apartment.
My initial instinct was to ask the human visitors to crunch and crawl to see a kite horizon. But as I map it out, it feels wrong.
It sounds interesting, but honestly, it also sounded exhausting. Then I realized, maybe I was solving the wrong problem. What if I didn't change the visitor? What if I changed the room instead? So instead of shrinking people, I'm making Orange's apartment bigger. A normal sofa suddenly becomes the chest height.
By expanding everyday domestic items to 3 times of the size, the human body naturally feels smaller.
That also solves another problem. I don't want people pretending to be cats. I just want them to experience an ordinary home from a completely different scale. And suddenly, every interaction started making sense. The first thing visitor sees is the entrance wall. It doesn't explain the exhibition. It simply says, humans have become very good at looking at cats. This exhibition invites you to experience the world with one. From there, you enter what I called the human world. Your phone screens, videos, information, things we are already familiar with. Then, Orange interrupts, not with a giant sign, just one tiny handwritten note near the floor. You've looked at 100 cats today. Want to see what I see? That's where everything changes. Suddenly, the apartment doesn't feel normal anymore. The sofa is enormous. The sofa becomes a landscape. A tennis ball becomes a destination. A space underneath the couch becomes somewhere worth exploring. Instead of decorating the apartment, I'm designing spaces that Orange would actually care about.
Right next to it is the sunshine spot.
My favorite corner is probably this one. Nothing happens here. There is no interaction, no instructions, no reward. It's just a warm place to sit. I think that's a very cat thing. And before leaving, every visitor leaves behind one tiny trace for someone they've never met.
Last episode, we learned that memorable exhibitions require personal encounters.
This week, I finally figured out what kind of encounter I want to create.
For the first time, I don't just have an idea. I have a space. Now that the spatial logic is verified and the content is locked in, it's time to pack up the prototype and step into the real world and pitch this design to the gallery. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next round.